Whoa, as the people in the Eastern Cape say. I'm so tired. But we do it again. This is day 6. And I need to come and tell you about the regulatory environment around which these kinds of businesses operate. And around this time, I just want to say I was doing a course. You could kind of call it like a series of masterclasses with a certain organization that was basically teaching on different subjects and topics around starting a new small business. So one of the things they mentioned that really went into my head and I started going down the rabbit hole was understanding the regulatory environment of your business. All right. So initially I thought, who's gonna challenge me about the industry I'm in and all these things? And it got clearer to me that, hey, regulation moves fast, and if you don't move with it, you might find yourself chowed or being sued, which is, what we'll talk about as well. So initially, I then had to look up the data protection laws, POPIA in South Africa, they're called. And one has to register as a chief information officer, and then you report every year if you have anything to report, obviously. And then you have to, have PIA manuals available. Some do it available on request, some do it, they just put it on the website. And yeah, that was, I think, one of the first things I had to interact with. Of course, with my CFO, Nati, we had to deal with SARS and get our tax compliance certificates, because without that, you can't apply for funding. I'm sure everyone knows this. But if you're new to this, I mean, this is not like generally known information. So you get to find these things out. Then one of the other things was that we needed to comply with the PPRA. Now, previously, before 2024, we wouldn't have had to comply with the PPRA. But since 2024, they've released new categories under which companies that deal in the property industry are to comply. So one of the industries is the industry of property advertising platforms. And recently there was a case about it, and I had spoken about it here, where the PPRA was dragged to court for failure to hold other property advertising platforms accountable in this regard. The High Court threw out the case because it lacked urgency, but it does not mean that it can't be brought back on appeal. So it's something that the PPRA is well aware of, and they are watching these, you could say, pop-up property advertising or similar platforms. Because remember, property advertising, you might say, no, I'm not advertising property on my platform, but you are enabling people to be connected to each other for property's sake online. That could be seen as property advertising. So I went down to the PPRA, spoke to them, and they told me that your business needs to be compliant. And so we started the application process. Initially very, very, very tricky, but we got the hang of it. And there are fees to be paid. There are fees to be paid to the PPRA. We're yet to pay those fees though, because I mean, our application is still under review and all these things. So those are some of the elements of the regulatory environment. So it's very important to understand which laws affect you, which laws don't. We know that in future we might need to consider laws related to the Financial Intelligence Center. Is it Financial Intelligence Center? Yes. But it's a voluntary disclosure. And then let me talk about the legal part. I know this is the boring stuff of business, right? compliance, regulatory stuff, and all that stuff. But I actually found it quite enjoyable because it at least gave me a sense that, okay, we're building a real business here that just can't be torn apart willy-nilly. We then had to draft our shareholders agreement with our very good friend and lawyer, Luntu. So he sat down with us. He had like a session to run us through what a shareholders agreement entails and what it's for, because we realized also, if you're looking for funding, you don't have a shareholders agreement, what are you doing? And so from the shareholders agreement, we were able to set out our terms. We were able to know, okay, who is entitled to what, how we constitute the governance of our business, and what are some of the things we need to follow. So I say this to say that if you thought business is basically doing your own thing and just getting away with whatever you want to do, think again. Think again. You are a person running a juristic entity, which a juristic entity also has to abide by the laws of this country. So it's quite a serious task. It's quite a serious task. And so I think those are the main things I wanted to touch in this session as I embrace the sunset over there, as you can see, as I embrace the sunset. Yeah, but tell me how you'd like these videos to be more enjoyable for you, because I'm just documenting my business life as I want. You can let me know in the comments, but please do continue subscribing. Lovely to have you guys here following the journey. Let's go.